moving on to my later years, when I was a teenager and young adult, this is where I kind of transitioned to the next stage of my songwriting journey because this is when I started listening to other people's music. And I remembered that I had really enjoyed writing music as a kid, and I wanted to continue writing music myself, but I kept getting stuck, right? Because compared to these musicians that I was listening to, my ideas never really felt like they were good enough. I had a lot of musical heroes, and so I had like a lot of pressure on myself. And I also didn't really understand, thanks, Dave. I didn't really understand anything about the music writing process either. And so when I sat down at my piano or with my guitar, I was playing guitar at the time, I would just kind of like wait for inspiration to come to me. And if it didn't happen, I kind of took it personally. And I then believed that, like, oh, this must mean that I don't really have what it takes to be a songwriter. And like, especially when I compared myself with other kids in my high school or other, classmates in university, it seemed like all my friends were in bands and they all seemed to write music all the time. And it seemed to be so easy for them, yet for me, it was so difficult. And I didn't really understand why. I just assumed it was that I was the problem, that I just didn't really have that kind of talent. And so I just essentially gave up. I just petered out completely by my early to mid 20s. And I continued to have a desire to learn how to write music, but it never flowed. And so I figured it was just not for me.